Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo, and welcome back to another episode of Fast Friday. I've got 4 minutes to spit this commentary and get you guys ready for the weekend ahead. Now, we're going to have a bit of a story time today. This is very much a story, a memory, I guess you could say, that was inspired by my time with the Rise of Iron expansion. I was making my way through some of the exotic weapon quests, and I got to the point where I was doing the exotic weapon quest for the Khvostov, and I realized that I really did not want to spend the time figuring out that quest on my own. I simply don't have the time, and I was really looking forward to getting my hands on the Khvostov so I could potentially do a weapon spotlight here on the channel. So I was under some time constraints. So what did I do? Well, like any modern person playing a video game, overwhelmed by a challenge that they need to complete as quickly as possible, I made my way to the internet, and I found a video by Datto. It was about 14 minutes long. I watched it, and I completed the Khvostov exotic weapon quest in under an hour. I was then quickly reminded of a point in time in my life during my youth where I didn't have that option. You know, we didn't have the resources that we have today. And there were moments when I was playing a game as a kid where I would hit just a straight up dead end, where I would come to a point in time, an ultimatum with myself, where I realized that the only way I was going to complete the challenge that was laid before me was to figure it out on my own. I realized that there were very, very small chance of me finding a strategy guide for said game, and that I simply knew no one else who was playing the game. You know, the internet wasn't really a thing to that degree, or I was simply too young to utilize it in the way that I needed to in order to solve the challenge that had been presented to me. This one specific memory boils down to my time with the campaign inside of GoldenEye on the N64. Some of you might remember one of the missions, I think it was actually the final mission, in which you had to try and obtain the golden gun, the one-shot little square box golden gun that could end somebody with one kill. This golden gun was encased inside of a glass case in a room that had a built-in alarm system. Now, if you stepped on the panels on the floor in the wrong way, it would trigger the alarm system, the case would close, and you would be unable to access that golden gun. I struggled with this for months. For whatever reason, it was one of the most difficult things that a game had ever put before me. This is a kid who had played Earthbound, Castlevania, Metroid, had beaten all of these games time and time again, who had even made it reasonably far through the completely unfair and challenging Battletoads, but for some reason was stumped by a simple stepping puzzle. I put it down for months, not really sure what I was going to do, going back every now and then, trying to figure out the combination, simply unable to do it. I remember at one point very specifically thinking, the game must be bugged or something, it's broken. What is this? This can't be this challenging. One day I go to the flea market with my family, and there was a game shop there. He's actually a local game store, not one of the few locally ran game shops that exists in the Western New York area where I live. It's pretty cool that he's expanded. This guy who called himself Oogie. He had this tiny game store in the corner of the flea market, and he always had this just ridiculously unorganized stack, this bundle of guides and books and manuals and cheat codes. So one day I'm just looking through it, kind of making my way through it, whatever, and all of a sudden I see this little book, GoldenEye N64. It was a legitimate walkthrough strategy guide for GoldenEye, and I remember just quickly grabbing it, flipping through the pages like, where's the bit about the golden gun? Boom, there it was. And they had a little diagram showcasing the order in which you had to step on the tiles. I went home that day, and I finally completed that damn quest and got my hands on the golden gun. It was glorious, and it was also the first time that I legitimately needed to use an outside resource to complete one of the challenges that a game had presented before me. Obviously, today we've got a lot of player choice. Do you want to use a guide? Do you want to go it alone? I think that's actually really cool. The idea that you could stress yourself out for up to 2 months and at least know that there's an outside resource. But there is something special about coming to a challenge within a game, realizing that there is really no other way to complete it than to simply solve it for yourself. Something that we probably just won't see in video games anytime anymore. What I'd love to hear you guys share with me today is a story of your own. When was the last time that a game genuinely put you at a dead end, where you simply knew that there was no outside resource that would help you complete the challenge that had presented before you? Did you ever complete it? And if so, how? Let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.